Welcome to the Crime Solver. Every Wednesday, 6 p.m., we're live here taking your calls from Las Vegas, Nevada at Go Live Vegas Studios. This is the entertainment capital of the world. Am I right, Aaron? And this is going to be the number one true podcast in all of Las Vegas and all of the United States of America. I can promise you that. We're going to have a big show tonight, a big show. A lot going on in the Idaho case. I know Aaron's not caught up in it. We got to get Aaron caught up in it because it's crazy. I just want to tell you all I bought a new phone case today for $15. You like my new phone case, Aaron? Right? Aaron's not really talkative today, I could tell. He likes to... He'll start fighting with me as soon as we start talking about gun control. Then he'll start fighting with me. No? Not today. All right, folks, listen, let's get right into it. Let's not have small talk. Let's talk about the biggest thing, the elephant in the room right now. Bethany from the Idaho 4 case. She is being subpoenaed by the defense. She is being subpoenaed by the defense. It's all over TikTok. I have a TikTok out there. I just did another TikTok. And if anybody wants to call in, I'm going to give you the number. And if somebody could write it in on TikTok, it'd be great because it's on. It should be on the Facebook page and everything. 833-847-7227. 833-847-7227. So what happened in the Idaho case? The defense has subpoenaed one of the surviving roommates. Now, a lot of people think this is not a big deal, but it is a big deal, okay? Now, she is fighting a subpoena. She actually lives out here in Nevada in Washoe County where I live in Nevada. So she's fighting a subpoena. There has to be a hearing that she has to fight saying that she doesn't want to testify in this case. And she did hire an attorney and everything else like that. Now, at first, I thought the prosecution actually subpoenaed her. But when I heard the prosecution didn't subpoena her, the defense subpoenaed her, I was like, what is going on? Now, what the rumor is that a PI says that she's seen somebody else leaving the house or in the house, but she's seen somebody else and they want her on the stand. Now, listen, a lot of people are saying to me, I don't know why you're making a big deal out of this. You're being dramatic. This is not a big deal. This is a big deal. Because all you have to do is show reasonable doubt to one person. To one person on that jury. And folks, the way this country is right now, everything's a criminal conspiracy, right? Everything's a conspiracy. Everything's this. Everybody's lying. And the reason is our media has lied to us. And I don't care what side you're on. Our media has lied to us for the last 5 years. Okay? So people are so sick of being lied to, they don't believe anything anymore. They don't believe anything. Okay? We're down. We're down. Aaron, could people hear me? We're down. I don't know. It's saying we're down on TikTok. Could people hear me? Yep. Okay, we're back. We're back. All right. We got down for a second there. It went offline. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. But this is a big deal. People they're saying to me, oh, you're being dramatic. You're this, you're that. This is a big deal. If she saw somebody else in that house or someone leaving, even if it meant nothing, even if it was just somebody visiting and leaving, the defense could say, how do we know it's BK when it could have been this guy leaving the house? We don't know who this guy is. She's seen somebody, okay? You start telling a jury that, and with all these conspiracies and conspiracy theorists out there, they'll be like, this is a conspiracy to get BK. I see it on here now. People are on my TikTok. This guy's innocent. He's being framed. He's being framed. You got a country full of people that think everything's a conspiracy. This is a defense attorney's dream. I don't want to say wet dream, but a dream. I guess I said wet dream. All right? I guess I said it. Okay? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. But people are they're on me about this. I'm getting criticized that I'm being dramatic about this. Listen, I think he's guilty. I 100% think he's guilty. But I also think that this is a wrench thrown into the case. If she's seen somebody in that house, if the defense is not lying and she's seen somebody else in that house, it's huge. I still think he did it, but it's huge because they're going to make a big deal out of it. Think about the O.J. Simpson case. If they don't fit the gloves got him off. That one thing got him off. Honestly, that helped get him off. I know it was a combination of the cops doing bad police work, but that helped. That was like the number one thing that got him off. This could be that too. I don't like it. At first, I thought she was fighting a subpoena for the prosecution. I thought, why wouldn't she want to testify against this man? but it throws a different wrench. Now it's now it's the defense. For the prosecution, I thought, we got screwed up there. Does anybody want to call in? Maybe I'm wrong. Call in. Tell me. Say, hey, listen, crime solver, you are being dramatic. I'm a defense attorney. I'm a prosecutor. Whatever. I don't care who you are. If you have an opinion, please call in. 1-833-847-7227. 833-847-7227. So, listen, this is what I think too, okay? I think if they subpoena her for the defense in the preliminary, I don't think that's going to be a big deal if she testifies in the preliminary. I mean, we'll get to know what she says, but I still think there'll be prima facie in the preliminary. Because I told you with the preliminary hearing, with a prima facie case, and that's what it's called. But basically what prima facie is, if you watch my videos, is was there a crime committed? Okay? Was a crime committed? Of course, a crime was committed. Okay, so they're going to testify how they showed up at the scene, and they found the bodies and this and that. Of course, a crime was committed. Then they got to say, was BK probably involved? Not definitely involved, not 100% involved, not without reasonable doubt. Was he probably involved? And a preliminary hearing is going to say that. A crime was committed. We found, touch DNA on the sheath. That's enough to bound it up to county court. Believe me. But in trial, you put Bethany on the stand and they say, how come you told our investigators twice that you saw somebody in the room? Because that's what the defense is saying. Huge. It puts reasonable doubt. And Dan just put that up on Facebook. I saw Dan's comment. It puts reasonable doubt. It really does. And I don't care how you think I'm being dramatic about this or anything. That is reasonable doubt. 100%. Some people are going to think that way. I don't. Okay? I would have to hear all the facts. But with this conspiracy stuff, that could be huge. It could definitely be huge. And right, I think somebody made a comment here. The other thing you could say is, was there more than one person now? Right? If she's seen somebody else in that house, there's more than one person, okay? Now, as the prosecutors in the preliminary hearing, they're just going to put one person on. They're going to put like maybe 3 or 4 people on the stand. They just have to establish, again, was a crime committed? Was BK probably involved? So we're not going to hear from all the witnesses at the preliminary hearing. We are not. Believe me when I tell you, you won't even hear of 25% of the evidence at the preliminary hearing because they don't want the prosecutors to hear the defense to hear all their witnesses, okay? So they're not going to do that. Believe me, I've been through thousands of preliminary hearings. We would only put the witnesses on necessary to get the prima facie case. So that's all they're going to need in a preliminary. They're not going to put it all on there. 100%. Hey, guys, everybody's being quiet. We need callers today. 833-847-7227. We got a ton of people online. Come on, guys, call in. Get the questions. I know people want the facts here about BK. Let's talk about it. What do you think? Is the crime solver being dramatic? I don't think so. Aaron, what do you think? You have a mic on?
No, I don't.
You don't think?
I got in trouble last time.
Are we out again?
No.
Because the screens went out.
No, it's fine.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Anything else you want to talk about that? That's true. I agree with you, Madeline. Madeline here on TikTok, she's saying, how does she know? How does she know that it wasn't BK that she saw? And I agree with you, Madeline. Maybe it was BK. Maybe the defense is just throwing this out there to the public saying that she saw somebody else. So maybe you're right, Madeline. It could be she's seen him. Maybe it backfires on the defense, right? Maybe it backfires on them. I don't like that she doesn't want to testify. That kind of bothers me. I don't know why, but it bothers me that she doesn't want to testify. It does. But I understand that, listen, I was a cop all them years, and every time I went to court, you get that little funny feeling in your stomach. Everybody does. Even if you testified 1,000 times, court makes you nervous. And listen, I was a cop. I knew I was going home no matter if I won the case or not. The defendant should be more worried about it than me, but you always get that feeling. So I understand a young girl like this going through a traumatic experience. I understand she's worried about testifying. I totally understand that, so I get it. Believe me when I tell you, I totally get it. But she's got to think she's helping her friends. She's helping her friends solve their own case, okay? She's got to realize that. Here, just a thought. Is there any way she's involved? I don't think so. I agree. And I agree. Sarah here said, she could be traumatic, but maybe, testify for your friends to get this guy convicted. You got to man up, right? Testify to help him get convicted. So I agree with that totally. I don't think she was involved. I don't think any of these roommates were involved at all. I mean, this is such a brutal case. I just don't. That would be total shock to me. Who's ever trying to come live on with me right now, how about calling in? 833-847-7227. We'll get you right on, whatever your question is. 833-847-7227. Okay, here's a question. I don't think she's involved either, but why does the defense want her to testify so much? Listen, could you imagine this would be, if you think about defense, Hazelton in the house, I see. Way to go, Johnny. Listen, think about the defense, right? They just want to put any kind of reasonable doubt in. So if they're putting that reasonable doubt in anybody's mind, right? That's all they want to do. So even subpoenaing her is already making all of us think, is there something reasonable doubt in there, right? Even us are starting to think that. So if we're thinking that, and I see it already in the comments, could you imagine what a jury would think? They would think there's something going on. They would think there's something suspicious, right? She's probably afraid to testify. I agree. She is probably afraid to testify. I totally agree with you. The time gap bothers me between the time of the event and when the cops were called. Listen, I'm going to agree with that. That bothers me. When this incident happened until the cops were called, that bothers the hell out of me. I totally agree with you. And I'm telling you, if I'm a defense attorney, and listen, guys, I'm 100% that I believe this man's guilty. I'm just going by what the defense might say. And if I'm a defense attorney, I'm saying, no one calls the cops for 9 hours later or 8 hours later, and I'm looking at the jury with one of these. Come on. You're not calling the cops? What is going on? You call your friends before you call the cops? Jury, what is going on here? I could see a defense attorney saying that. Jury, what? Now listen, if this happened to your friends, wouldn't you call the police? Of course you would, right? So I can see a defense attorney saying that. I'm just giving you what the defense is going to say. They're going to be dramatic. If you think the crime solver's dramatic, wait till you see the defense. They're going to be really dramatic. Definitely, 100%. That's the issue. Yep, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. They're going to ask her, how do you know it was BK that you saw? Agree. And it's going to be dark in the house. They're going to put reasonable doubt with that it wasn't him. I'm really hoping, I think the picture or what they find, the driver's license that they found is huge. Him keeping that driver's license is huge. So that can overcome some of the reasonable doubt too, where, okay, maybe they can't identify him in the house or they don't know it was BK in the house, but the license could put him in the house, okay? The license, the DNA could put him in the house, okay? So you got to put him in the crime scene. The license puts him in the crime scene and the DNA puts him in the crime scene, okay? So that's big. That's 8 hours, exactly. It's totally 8 hours. Something's not right. I'm totally waiting to the end of June. I agree with you. Amy from TikTok said there's something's not right. I'm waiting to June. Listen, Amy, I agree with you. We are going to find out so much more about this case. Believe me, so much more about this case. There is stuff we didn't hear. In this case, but if this goes to preliminary, right? We're going to hear a lot. Well, I don't think we'll hear a lot of new evidence during the preliminary. We will during the trial. But in the preliminary, we'll just hear some. But there'll be some new evidence. And if defense is, let's say they win this subpoena hearing and she has to testify, it's going to be very interesting what she testifies to. Now, listen, here's the thing. Wouldn't it be something if they took this to the grand jury now? If they took it to the grand jury and not a preliminary hearing, the defense can't put nothing on and she can't testify. So if the prosecutors say, you know what? We're not going to have a preliminary hearing now. We're going to take it to the grand jury. If they take it to the grand jury, the defense doesn't put anything on then and they save her. Okay? They save her from testifying at the preliminary. Doesn't mean she's not going to be subpoenaed for trial, but they save her from testifying at the preliminary hearing. This is what the preliminary hearing is. And listen, I get it. If you're not like an attorney or a cop, you can't really understand this preliminary hearing. What a preliminary hearing is, it's only heard before a judge. And the judge decides if it's a prima facie case. If the judge decides that, it gets heard by a jury. So the judge is basically deciding if this should be heard by a jury. If there's enough evidence that it be heard by a jury. And basically what it is, was a crime committed? Of course, a crime was committed. And was BK the person probably involved? Probably. If they could say that, that goes up to county court and it goes towards a jury trial. So that's what a preliminary hearing is. Yes, they call it in some counties an evidence hearing, but that's basically what it is. Folks, call in, please. You guys got some great questions. We want to hear your voice. Right, Aaron? 833-847-7227. 833-847-7227. If somebody could write that in the comments, it'd be great. 833-847-7227. Blinded by fear doesn't excuse calling 911, in my opinion, from Stacy. Listen, or I think it's Staycat. Staycat. I agree with you. I don't understand the not calling the police. And maybe we'll understand that more when it comes to the preliminary or the trial. That bothers me too. I'm telling you, the defense is going to go after that. They're going to go after that she saw somebody in the room. They're going to go after the sheath because now it was sent to 2 different places before they got the results. So, listen, in the beginning, I was very, very optimistic about this case. But I got to admit, some wrenches has been thrown that got me a little concerned. They definitely got me concerned. With the DNA and ID, man, it seems pretty cut and dry. Why does he have an ID? I agree with you, and that's what I would go back to, and that's what the prosecution. If I'm the prosecution, I let the defense say whatever they want. I'm staying on task. Why did BK have her license? Why? Why did he have it? And I would tell the jury that in closing. Do you have somebody's license that you don't know in a box somewhere, in a glove? No, that's weird, and that's what I would say to the jury, right? You don't have somebody you don't know's driver's license in a box, in a glove, in your drawer at your house? No. Okay, so that's weird. So that's a number 1, definitely for the prosecution. The number 2 is the sheath with the touch DNA. I totally agree with you. And if I'm the prosecution, I stay on that. I stay on that directly. Definitely. I'm confused. Did the knife sheath turn out to be his DNA? Yes, it did. And that's another question from TikTok. What happened with the knife DNA? They sent it to the Idaho lab. And it came back, I believe, that they couldn't find anything, but that wasn't their expertise. So they sent it to a lab, I believe, in Texas, where that touch DNA is their expertise, and they found the touch DNA of Bryan Kohberger's. But if I'm a defense attorney and you talking about people that don't understand DNA, listen, I was a cop and I totally 100% don't understand it. So you get somebody on a jury that has no idea what that is, and you're a defense attorney and say, how come this other lab didn't find touch DNA? How come this other lab didn't find touch DNA? Were we going to send it to 100 labs till finally somebody said it was BK's? That's what I would say if I was a defense attorney. You know what I mean? That's exactly what I would say. Okay, that's what I thought. Last I heard was that it went to the second lab but didn't hear after. Yeah. Okay, we got one from Just Winky. Maybe Bethany was the only one. It was said she was on a Tinder date. Okay. Oh, she was on a Tinder date that night? Okay. Who knows? You know, maybe there was somebody else in that house and just walked out. You know what I mean? Maybe they saw somebody leaving the house and somebody was there that we don't know about that left earlier. And she said, I did see someone leaving the house at like 1 o'clock or something. And the defense is making a big deal out of it. You know what I mean? That could be too. Definitely. Okay, Rebecca's saying they found DNA. It didn't match anything in the DNA base, so they sent it out. Got it. I understand what you're saying. So there was nothing in the base because he was never arrested before. So his DNA was not there because he was never arrested before. When they sent it to the Texas lab, I guess they got his dad's DNA, I believe, off the garbage, and then they were able to get the 2 DNAs together, meaning that it was his on the sheath. I think I got that right. It was a little confusing, but I think I got that right. I don't think they found the knife. If they found see, there is a gag order, but if they did find the knife, they would have to tell the defense. They would have to tell them, okay? I think if they did find that, we would probably know because them search warrants were gone, even though there's a gag order, unless they found it after the search warrants. I'm not sure. Guys, you guys have great questions. Don't be afraid to call in. I want to hear everybody's voice. 833-847-7227. What could he have possibly done with the knife? Listen, this is what I think. First of all, him keeping the driver's license, that's a mistake. He made a lot of mistakes. Him leaving the sheath was a mistake. My guess is he probably dropped the sheath, couldn't find it. He probably dropped it in the struggle and couldn't find it, and he wanted to get out of that house, so he left it. That's my feeling. My feeling is through the struggles, and they said one of the victims definitely fought back. So through the struggles, he dropped the sheath. That's my guess. And then he left with the knife. And he probably threw the knife somewhere. My guess is if I'm him, somewhere close. Honestly, I believe he threw that knife somewhere close. If there's a river, he probably threw it in the river close. I'm not sure where Idaho is, a lake, wherever it is, Idaho, Moscow is. That's my guess. I'd have got rid of the knife that night if I was him. And I would have threw it in the water or whatever. Okay, somebody said, good question. But what if BK says he's been in the house before and his DNA and others in the house, it was a party house? I totally agree with you. But his DNA was found on a sheath. If it was found on the cupboard or it was found on the refrigerator, different story. But this was found on a knife sheath. But I totally get what you're saying. Oh, thank you, Susan, for the gift. Thank you. We appreciate it. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. And they will bring that up. I agree with you what you're saying. The defense will bring what you set up. Yep, I think being a party house is a problem too. I agree with you too, because they're going to say, at a party house, they're going to say, well, oh, Janie's watching. Way to go. Another Hazelton. Hazelton in the house. Listen, what they're going to say this was a party house, okay? And with a party house, you don't know how many people are in the house. There was hundreds of people. They're going to say, how many times were you called to this? They're going to put cops on the stand, and the cops are going to say, listen, they're going to say, we were called to this house 25 times for loud music. They're going to say, you don't know who all was in your house. BK could have been here 10 times for a different party. He could have had his DNA all over this house. I get it. And they're going to use that. I totally agree with you. I agree with you, though. And now, Ringtan, first of all, I love your nicknames. I love your nicknames. He still had the victim's ID in his possession in a box and a glove. I totally agree with you. And if I'm the defense attorney, if I'm the prosecution, every time the defense attorney says that, I go back to that. In my closing, I'm like, he could say whatever he wants. Somebody else was in the house. Somebody else was this. But that someone else didn't have the victim's ID in a box, in a glove, in his possession. I keep going back to that if I'm the prosecutor. 100%, and I agree with you. I believe she has her DNA in her purse. I believe they probably all have his DNA. Thank you for the hat. That's my favorite, the TikTok hat. Let's go, baby. You guys are great tonight. Everybody's great tonight. 833-847-7227. Listen, we're going to stay on this a little bit. I had other things to talk about, but let's give this 5 more minutes because this is really good. Yes. Okay, Cookie's saying it was a souvenir box. That was not smart. Exactly. What people don't understand, and I went over this, a lot of people that do unalive serial, you know what I mean? Because I can't say the word because TikTok will take me off. They do this. They keep victims, something from a victim, a little gift from a victim. They'll steal something off a shelf in a house. They'll steal something from their car. This license was his trophy. His trophy that he did this, that he accomplished this and got the victim's ID. And if the prosecution can keep talking about that, it's going to help. 100%. Do I think he's involved in other unsolved cases? I think there's a possibility. And here's my thing. I think, they found that one ID. Usually they keep all their victims' gifts or trophies together. Could they have found other victims' IDs from other cases in Pennsylvania? We're going to have to wait and see that, but that's a possibility. When they found that ID, that's what I thought, and that's why I thought that the Pennsylvania police are so looking into him on other cases. So, yes, I agree with you. That could 100% be a possibility. Great question. Yes, he thought he was smart putting it in a glove in the bottom of a box. Yeah, of gloves. Exactly. He thought they would not look into the glove. So he put the box with the glove in the box with the other gloves. Hey, thank you, Susan. I appreciate the heart. I appreciate it. 100%. I agree with you. Okay, not part of the gag. It was released for the PA arrest. It's all listed they took. Okay, sounds good. Thank you for letting us know that. But yes, I totally agree with all of you guys. I still think he did it 100%. But I think the defense is already trying to put holes in this case. And if Bethany is their hole, that makes me nervous. That does make me nervous. I didn't hear anything about the dog hair. Did they find dog hair? I'm not sure. If anybody knows anything about the dog hair, I'm not sure if they found dog hair or not, guys. If anybody could let me know, I'm not sure. A lot of holes. I agree. Texas music. I love these guys. I love your names. My Texas music. A lot of holes. Well, there's starting to be holes now, which definitely makes me nervous. Believe me. I want this guy convicted just like the rest of you is. And let me tell you something. When you go through trial, it's nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie to you. Waiting for the jury to come back, even if you're the prosecution, it's nerve-wracking. You're just so nervous. They found one curly hair of the dogs. I didn't know they found any hair of the dogs. I think it was the first affidavit that they found animal hair, but they didn't say what kind. Not as easy as it appears. I agree with you. See, now, if they found the animal hair, that should have been on the search warrant. If it was on the search warrant, if they found that animal hair on his clothing or anything and they could match it to the dog that was in there, that's huge. That would be huge. Listen, I could tell you from experience. My daughter has a golden retriever, a white golden retriever. I go over her house. There is hair all over me. I can't even help it. I try not to have it on, okay? And there's hair all over me. So if you have a dog, that kind of dog like that, of course. You know what I mean? Of course. So listen, call in, guys. 833-847-7227. 833-847-7227. Oh, they found it from the parents' house. That's huge. If they found it from his parents' house in Pennsylvania, that means it was on his clothing and he brought it all there. To me, folks, that is huge. So I did not know that about the dog hair. That's another thing. So the prosecution got to harp on that. How did this dog hair from this dog happen all the way in Pennsylvania? So that could be huge. But then you're going to have to bring a dog expert in. Believe me when I tell you, folks, this is a 2-month trial. This is a 2-month trial. We'll be in front of our TVs every day. We'll be on TikTok every day. I'm probably going to have to quit my job and just do TikTok full time when this trial comes because it's going to be crazy. How long? And this is a question from Amy. Oh, we're getting a call. I love it. Hey, it's Danny from the Crime Solver. Who do we have on the phone?
It's Mary.
Hi, Mary. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, Phoenix. Way to go. So you're close. You're only about 4 hours from us.
Yes.
All right, Mary, what's your question?
If BK is acquitted on his charges, what do you think that the environment around this case will be?
If he's found guilty?
Yes.
If he's found guilty, I think everybody would be thrilled and happy. Don't you think?
Not
Is that what
guilty.
Do you agree?
Not.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Oh, she got disconnected. You can call back.
His charges.
If he's exonerated of the charges.
Correct.
Oh my God! If he's exonerated of charges, Mary, I think this country will go off. Don't you agree?
I agree.
Oh my God! Let's pray to
pray
to God that doesn't happen.
I agree, right?
Yes.
The holes in the case are just making it a little unbearable for me.
Mary, what do you think? Do you think he's guilty?
Absolutely.
Do you think, though, are you a little worried about what they said about Bethany?
Yes.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Me
and
too.
I've listened to many defense lawyers in regard to this.
Okay.
And it doesn't look good, especially starting off with the preliminary hearing, going off by that, and also for the fact of just the publicity exposure to the case on how different holes can be poked into into different jurors. Just having one person not feeling guilty, you can have a bad outcome.
Oh, I totally agree with you. You can definitely have a bad outcome, especially with this Bethany thing, especially if she did see somebody or she says she saw somebody, even if it wasn't him, but it was somebody else. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Correct. Exactly. And that's kind of my worry about this.
Yes, I totally agree. So what do you think, though? Your total opinion on, is he going to be found guilty?
I don't think he will be found guilty. I believe that he will not be found guilty.
Oh, gosh, I hope you're wrong.
I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, too. I've been following the case since day one. I've been following you on TikTok ever since you came up on my For You page.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
The other podcast.
So you still listen to me?
on TikTok, too.
Oh, awesome. So you still listen to me? You don't care that I scream? Because everybody else can't stand that I scream.
Oh, I love it. The haters are mad in the comments, but I don't care. I love it.
Thank you so much, Mary. So listen, I'm hoping you're wrong, but you know what? Who knows? Because remember Casey Anthony? There's no way I thought they would found her not guilty, and they did. So that you never know.
And another thing is, I just want to add to is
Sure.
that I know we don't have a lot of the facts, and they know a lot more information than we do. But from the information that's being put out by the media and the information, if you look at the court documents, and I know things are redacted and stuff, but there's a lot of holes from him going to Idaho, the FBI following him. We don't know where the weapon is. Like you said, it's probably in a lake somewhere in Moscow. The evidence. There's probably a lot of holes that we don't know, but there's also a lot of things that I feel like the defense is going to poke at, and they are probably going to be able to exonerate him because of the way that the defense is carrying the case. I think he's 100% guilty, though.
I think he's 100% guilty, too. I totally agree with you. But like you said, especially, think about it. Especially with the way this country is right now, right? We're all divided. We all have different opinions on everything. We think everything's a conspiracy. All you need is one person not to agree. Just one person. You know what I mean? That's big.
Absolutely.
That's big. And
another thing is, I want to add to.
Sure.
If this is live on TikTok, I don't know. I just want to add. People need to be more kind to the family members. Kaylee, Ethan, all of the people that were murdered. You guys need to be a little bit more respectful to them. This is a real life case, real people. There's two people that were, survived, but they had real life PTSD, and the doxing and all that stuff that's happened in the beginning is not okay, which is another thing that's not helping the case.
I totally agree with you. And you know what? I'm glad you brought up that point, because they are victims. Them two girls are 100% victims that survived. And let me tell you, and what they'll do, Mary, what they're going to do is they'll give them there'll be a court witness counselor with them. There'll be a person with them through the whole time, all the way to they testify. They'll give a victim's advocate. So there'll be somebody with them the whole time, talking to them about their testimony, not telling them what to testify, but telling them how the court process works, and they'll stay with them the whole entire time until they testify.
Right. And another good point that I heard that you say before I called in is that you said that no matter what, even if you're a cop or prosecutor, you're going to be speaking up when you're on a trial like this. This is very serious. This is a very real-life lived experience for a lot of people in this case.
Exactly. And you listen, like I said, I was a cop all them years. Honestly, I probably testified over 1,000 times, if not more. And every single time, I don't care who you are, and I'm a very outgoing person. I know a lot of my stuff, but I still was nervous. I was still nervous because you just don't know with court. You just don't know. So I was always nervous.
Absolutely.
I don't care who you are.
Really
if you don't say you're nervous, you're lying.
Exactly.
And attorneys get nervous too. I mean, they get nervous too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So,
and the publicity of the case, and that's imagine waking up and you have 4 roommates that are just dead, murdered in the middle of the night.
I know. It's crazy. It really is.
It's crazy. This case is wild.
It's one of the craziest cases we had in America in a long, long time. And I think it's because they were so young. These kids were so young, and it just hit all of us hearts. It hit our hearts because we all have kids.
In a very safe town.
In a very safe town. You're right. And that proves that crime could happen anywhere. You could have the safest town in the world, and something like this could happen. I agree with you.
Exactly.
Mary, thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for following me all this time.
Jenny. I really enjoy your podcast. I've been really a fan, and I really enjoy your stuff. Keep yelling. Keep doing you. I love it. I'm going to keep supporting. I love it.
All right.
Go live Vegas, baby.
All right. Yay. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Have a great day.
Yep. Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye. Hey. Now we're rocking. Mary was a good caller. She was a great caller. All right, somebody else there. If he is guilty too, but if jury can be swayed, yes. And that's right. They said Ann Taylor, he's got a very good defense attorney. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? I would arrest people, and they would say, what are they going to do? Give me a public defender? And they would call them public pretenders. I'm not kidding you. That's what they called them, public pretenders. They didn't call them public defenders. They'd call them public pretenders. But there's very good public defenders, very good. And what I'm hearing is I forget her last name, but I know her first name is Ann. She's a very good defense attorney. Everybody's talking about it, the news, everything. So he's got a good attorney. And you get a good attorney that could speak well, that could put doubt in someone's mind, that is this. Listen, a defense attorney is a salesperson. They're selling you. They're selling you. And they want you to buy what they're offering. And if she's a good salesperson, she can put doubt in that jury's mind. Because that's all attorneys are. They're salespeople. They really are. They can. What? It could go to a grand jury. Now, listen, it's really weird. This is where I see a flaw in our justice system. You could go to a grand jury and the defense cannot put no defense on. But if you do a preliminary hearing, the defense could put one on. So, yes, they can, at the last minute, take this to a grand jury. Unless I'm wrong, but I'm 99% sure they could still take it to a grand jury. 99% sure about that. But if there's an attorney saying, nope, Ann Taylor is the name of the attorney, and she's very good. Jury selection. I agree with you. That is going to be the biggest problem. Getting a jury. And I still see a change of venue here, folks. I still see a change of venue. If I was a defense attorney, I might want to take it out of this town because this town is angry. This town is upset about what happened. So if I'm a defense attorney, I do not want the jury held in this county. I would want it sent somewhere else, a change of venue. And I would almost guarantee that will happen. I will be shocked if there's not a change of venue on this. I'll be shocked. I've had change of venues in some of my cases that I didn't even think there should be. In this case, you know, as a person that believes in fair trials, maybe it should be sent somewhere else. You know, maybe it should. So I kind of agree with the defense. This way we have an impartial jury and that he can't have good appeals. Because if we keep it in that county and he says it wasn't an impartial jury and he tries to fight it in an appeal later on. So yeah, let's just take it to another county. Yes, and by that point, the whole country has heard about this. I agree with you. It's going to be very, very hard to find a jury. But listen, I'm going to be honest with you. We think the whole country heard, but I just talked to Aaron before this, and Aaron knows nothing about this case. So Aaron would be a good juror for this. Aaron didn't keep up on it. So we think everybody, but there'll be a couple people that they'll be able to find that heard nothing about this case. 100%. I truly believe they would never put me on a jury because I'm a retired cop. I'll never be on a jury, ever. And I've been called to jury duty, and of course, they take me right off right away. But I actually would be a good juror because I could definitely be impartial. Even though I was a cop, I could be impartial. Yep, I agree with you. I agree with you. They're what is?
Read the comment.
Which comment?
The one you were about to say reply to.
I can't read the name. I think you can get an impartial jury in Idaho. So just change. Oh, I don't think, right? I'm sorry, I can't read. I think he can get an impartial jury in Idaho. So just change the venue and the entire country knows. I agree with you. You're basically saying that why change the venue? The whole country knows about this. So just have it right in Idaho. Yeah, they will have it in Idaho. I just don't think they'll have it in that county. I just don't think they'll have it in that county. I thought the same, working for probation. Okay, you work for probation? Yeah, I think they could take it to the grand jury if that was your thing. Yep, I think they can. Yes, listening, and thank you, sir. Respect. Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you guys liking me because I do get a lot of hate because I'm loud. I'm not really screaming. I'm just loud. That's all. I'm just loud. I want to make sure people could hear. That's all. I just want to make sure people could hear. I'm Italian. Okay, true crime. I'm so hoping that he's found guilty. If not, he will walk free and just unalive again and again. Listen, I agree with you. This guy is dangerous. He is dangerous. He was, I don't know if you people know, if everybody out there knows, but he ended up being fired from his job in Washington State because their females were making complaints about him. So this guy is creepy. I mean, let's be honest. He's creepy. Do I believe he did this? Yes. Yes. And he's an endanger to the public. I mean, God forbid he's found not guilty. I totally agree. Oh, wow, My Texas Music, she's a probation officer and still picked for a jury. That's amazing. I got picked for jury duty like 4 times and never picked for a jury. Never, ever, ever. I just think they don't think cops could be impartial. But I'm going to be honest with you, I can be impartial. Thank you, Trish, for the rose. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. Okay, listen, we could go back to this. Let me go one more question. Let's see if we have any other good questions. Or if anybody wants to call in about the BK before we go on to other items. And we could always go back to BK if anybody wants to. But if any other questions that we didn't go over with the Idaho case, I don't think so. I guess next week we'll probably see what more comes out about this defense subpoena, and they might even have the hearing before that, and we'll know if she testifies. But we can always go back to that. But let's move on to this one, okay? This one, let's talk about what happened in Texas, where the 16-year-old kid, okay, 16 years old, he goes to pick up his two twin brothers at a house. His parents called him and said, hey, will you pick your two twin brothers up at a house? And this individual happened to be African American. He goes to pick up his two brothers, and he goes to the wrong home. I don't know if anybody's seen this. He goes to the wrong home, knocks on the wrong door, and an 84-year-old man comes to the door and pew, pew, twice, hitting him once in the head. Oh, wow, what happened there? Hit him once in the head. Folks, thank God this kid lived. Thank God this kid lived. Folks, what do you think about this? This case is crazy, okay? You know, listen, you guys know that I support the Second Amendment. You guys know I do, right? But in a case like this, do we have to put something in the red flag laws or something like that, that if you get to a certain age, you may have to requalify, you may have to be, because should this 84-year-old man had, I don't think he should at this point, or he wouldn't have done what he did. Okay, so this is a very sad case. Listen, I'm pro Second Amendment, but I'm okay with making some kind of red flag laws. Maybe when you get to a certain age, you know, like a driver's license, stuff like that, you have to, you know, make sure you're okay before you could do this. I'm okay with that. Believe me, I'm okay with that, because that was just horrible. Could you imagine just knocking at the wrong door and that happening to you? You know, it was crazy. And not only that, folks, we had other things happen. That happened. Oh my gosh. Cass is saying that happened 30 minutes for him. Oh my God. He lived. The kid did live. The kid did live. Great kid too. He's like this superstar chemistry student. Like, this kid's going to have this humongous bright future. I mean, this kid's smart. He's this, he's that. I felt so bad that this happened. Out of all the incidents this week, that one really stuck to me. I mean, it was insane what happened to that kid. I felt so bad. But wait, it even gets worse. This week was horrible. We had a girl in Colorado get a rock thrown at her vehicle. Okay? A rock hit her windshield and unalived her. She was only 20 years old. And I believe they arrested teenagers for this today. Teenagers threw a rock at this girl's window. And it wasn't just her. They were throwing rocks at cars. And they unalived a 20-year-old girl, folks. These kids were teenagers that did it. They arrested them today. I saw it on the news. It's crazy, folks. Totally crazy. And then we had another girl, and I'm losing where this happened at. I don't think it was Texas. God, I think it was Indiana. I'm not sure. But a girl, a cheerleader, it was either Indiana or one of them Midwest states. A girl was going from a cheerleading competition. She got lost with other girls in her car, and she turned around in someone's driveway because she got lost. We've all done that. We've all turned around in someone's driveway, and a guy comes out of the car and unalives her. Folks, what is going on? She turned around in someone's driveway, some young girl. Oh, my, was that Texas also? Oh, was it New York? Oh, that's right. It was upstate New York. You're right. That was upstate New York, that one. That was upstate New York. Oh, my God. She's from your hometown. I am so, so sorry. Folks, now listen, again, Aaron will tell you I am pro Second Amendment. I fight with Aaron all the time about it. There's times Aaron tries to not talk to me over it. But listen, I'm okay with some laws that we can protect people. Okay, I'm okay with the, you know, if you had mental health problems in the past year, you can't get one unless a doctor okays you and signs off. I call them common sense laws. I'm okay with common sense laws. And especially with this 84-year-old guy, common sense, you don't come to a door shooting. You don't. He didn't even know what the threat was. It was a 16-year-old kid picking up his brothers. So, I mean, I totally get everything, guys. I get it. I totally get it. And then I think, what else? We had the driveway. We had that. It was just a crazy week. Oh, I forgot about this too. And definitely, if anybody wants to call in about this, Again, the phone lines are open, 833-847-7227. Oh, the cheerleaders were from Austin, Texas. Okay, that's the one, the other one from Texas. I got it. If you want to call about any of these cases, how you feel about it, 833-847-7227. Oh, Kimberly said she's Team Aaron. But listen, I like that our podcast has different opinions. I like that we have, left and right opinions. It makes a good conversation, and that we could all be adults and not argue about it. It makes it a great conversation, and I appreciate it. And Kimberly, I appreciate you saying you agree with Aaron. It's okay to agree with him. We all have different opinions. Aaron, don't let me have my opinion. He gets mad at me.
Until my friend doesn't call me back.
Listen, he's just saying that.
You know what that's about, right?
He's just saying that. He's just saying that. The cheerleaders accidentally got into the wrong car. I totally agree with you. Listen, another thing I just want to go over, because I have my notes of the case I wanted to go over, and I will go over everything that we did if I can't handle this case. The Alec Baldwin case, okay? They did drop the charges on him. I want to know what everybody thinks about that. Me and Aaron talked about it before we went on air, and I didn't know this, but Aaron said that the weapon for the show was actually modified, and it may have went off by itself. And that's why the prosecution dropped the charges. Am I right, Aaron? That's what Aaron said he heard. I'm not sure if anybody else heard that. Aaron said he heard that the weapon was modified, and that's why it went off. So that's why they dropped the charges. Listen, I always said... Go ahead.
It had a modified trigger.
It had a modified trigger. So that's why they're saying it went off. Because it had a modified trigger, so that's why the prosecution is not going on with the case. Now, listen, I was okay with them charging him, but do I think this was a horrible accident?
Oh, my God.
Listen, do I think this was an accident? 100% it was an accident. I don't like Alec Baldwin. I think he's an arrogant person. I don't like arrogance, and some people may say I'm arrogant. I've been called that before. I think Aaron called me that. I'm just kidding. I'm picking on you, Aaron. You're the only one here. What am I going to pick on? I got to pick on you. But listen, I think he's arrogant. I don't like him, but I also agree that it was an accident, and I'm okay with him not being charged. I'm totally okay with it. The only thing I'm not okay with in that whole Russ case, I don't believe they should continue with the movie. That's my opinion. Person was unalived. This was a horrible, tragic accident. Dump the movie. I'm not going to watch this movie. I'm not going to support this movie. I just think you should dump the movie. You are so money hungry that you're going to continue with this movie. I'm sorry. I don't agree with continuing with the movie. I just don't agree with it.
Actually, there's a reason they're continuing it.
Go ahead.
I believe the proceeds are going to the family.
Oh, are you serious?
That's what I understand. So
Then
I think
I'm cool with it.
There's a reason for it.
Oh, then I'm cool with it. Aaron is saying, see, Aaron got all the answers, okay? We think he just sits there and just is the director, producer, but he has the answers. He has the answer. So what Aaron is saying is that... What Aaron is saying is... What did you just say? Say it right so we know exactly what it was.
I said that the money or the proceeds will be going, or partial proceeds will be going to the family.
Okay. So what he's saying is the partial proceeds are going to be going to the family what the movie makes. So that makes more sense. I agree with that better. Okay, so if they're continuing with the movie so the family gets money, I'm okay with that. 100% I'm okay with that. True Crime says she loves both of us. Thank you. She said we're good together, having fun and solving crimes. I totally agree. And you know what? Me and Aaron are total opposites.
I just make you look good.
Listen, we're total opposites. I'm telling you, we are total opposites. It's funny. My girlfriend actually told me that Aaron is too nice of a guy to hang with me because I'm meaner than Aaron. Oh, he's shaking his head. He agrees with that one. Aaron agrees that I'm meaner than him. Oh, that's great.
I think you are a special person.
I am. I'm a special one. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Listen, we got about 8 minutes left. If anybody wants to call in, okay, call in about the Idaho case. Let's go over it. If there's something else I missed today, let's go over it, man. I definitely want to do it. I want to go over this Idaho case. We got 10 more minutes. You want to bring up another case? Bring up another case. Let's get it done. We'll go back to Idaho for our last 8 minutes here so we can really stretch this out and get everybody's questions answered. Yeah, call in for the Idaho 4 case. I agree, Maria. Let's call in. Let's talk about it. Listen, so you guys all know, when that preliminary hearing starts, okay, like I said, they're only going to put certain witnesses on. What they'll do is they'll probably put a cop on first. What they do is they try to establish the crime first. So the first witness at a preliminary hearing is going to be a cop. It will probably be the first officer on the scene. That first officer on the scene is going to describe what he saw, what he found, how he called the detectives out, and how he secured the scene. So always in a preliminary hearing, the first guy called is always the first cop at the scene. So I will almost guarantee he's going to testify. Okay, they'll have the lab testify. So they'll have somebody from the lab saying they found the detective will testify saying he found the sheath. They'll have the lab guy testify that they found evidence on the sheath. You know, so there'll only be about 4 or 5 guys testify, and 5 people, I should say, testify at the preliminary hearing. Believe me, they will not put everybody on. Now in the trial, all is going on. Every piece of evidence they have is going on. Believe me when I tell you, okay? And here's another thing. The case could still be waived, okay? And I would say the preliminary hearings that I went through, 85 to 90% of my preliminary hearings were waived. They were waived because deals were made at the preliminary hearing. The defense attorney would come up and say, we'll waive the hearing up to court if you would drop this charge, and we'll plead to this. So at preliminary hearings, a lot of deals are made. In a case like this, we're not going to have a deal because it's a DP case, okay? He is not going to plead because he knows what the results are, the worst results you could have. So there will be no plea bargain in this case. So they will go through with the preliminary hearing. In other cases, there wouldn't be because they make deals. So that's basically how this works. Definitely. The Florida Uber driver case you want me to go over, I'm not sure about that case. I'm not familiar with it. If anybody wants to call in about it, I am not familiar with the Florida Uber. On the mic. Aaron got it. See, Aaron knows everything.
I just know that some guy ordered food from an Uber guy and they unalived him when they arrived.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I did see that.
Then they chopped him up into parts and then...
Right, we're on TikTok. We're on TikTok.
Sorry, well, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Are you serious? I did not hear that. I thought he was robbed, right? At first it was a robbery, right?
Yeah, they robbed him of his jewelry.
Okay, and then they unalived him.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you can't even do DoorDash. Oh my gosh. Hey, what's going on, Billy Jean from Hazleton? Blue Jean, baby. Hey, Danny, coming in from Hazleton. That's my hometown, Hazleton, Pennsylvania. If you guys watch The Office, Scranton Wilkes-Barre is about 25 minutes from there. That's where I lived, about 25 minutes from there. Did the defense really call for the toxicology reports of the Idaho 4 victims? I'm not sure, Maria, but I'll tell you this. They probably will get that information anyway. So maybe they didn't get it yet as the discovery, but they have the rights to that. So they don't even have to request it. They have the rights to that. They have to turn over every single piece of evidence. There could be no surprises on the prosecution side. So the prosecution can't come in the day of the trial and say, ha, we found the weapon. They can't do it. You have to tell the defense every single thing you have. Every single thing you have. So they can't do anything surprisingly. So they probably will have to turn that over. They have to turn that over. Not probably, they have to. So they have to turn the toxicology reports. But maybe they didn't get them back yet. So maybe the defense has requested them but didn't get them back yet. But maybe they're looking to see what was in all the girls' systems, something like that. Maybe they're trying to get something with the defense with that. Will they call some of the friends or family members to the witness stands? Yes. And that is from Sarah, I believe. And guys, if I got your names wrong, I'm blind as a bat, so it's hard for me to read. I'm very blind. I should be wearing glasses. Sarah says, will they call some friends or family to stand? Yes. Friends or family will testify. Friends and family will testify for him too. They're called character witnesses. After the trial, they could put on character witnesses that say, Listen, BK's the best man. I saw him in church every week. Oh my God, he blessed himself 30 times before church. Believe me, I've seen these character witnesses. So yes, BK will actually have family members testify, friends testify for him, work associates testify, saying what a great guy he was and he would never do this. They're called character witnesses. So yes. But yes, he has no character. I agree with you. It's going to be hard. Okay, remember the coroner saying toxicology was not important in this case? Do reports exist? Just asking. Listen, I know he said that. There's got to be reports. Yes. They got to do toxicology reports. If they didn't, that would be a major mistake and a major red flag why you didn't. Here's the thing. One thing defense does, they'll find people that could have been witnesses or could have been suspects or something like that. And if you didn't interview them, like a cop didn't interview them, they'll make a doubt in a jury's mind by saying, did you interview Joe Smith? No, we didn't interview Joe Smith. Why didn't you interview him? Joe Smith was at the scene that night. Why didn't you interview him? Maybe Joe Smith could have told you something to find BK innocent. So they will look for witnesses that they didn't interview. So as a cop, I interviewed everybody so the defense couldn't do that to me. So the defense couldn't say, why you didn't interview this guy? Why? Maybe this guy could have cleared my client. Why didn't you interview him? You didn't do your job right, detective. So that's basically what it is. That's how it really works. You think it's really important? I agree with you. Yeah, I think the toxicology is important. It's important in any case. It's important in any single case. Okay, we got about 3.5 minutes left. 3.5 minutes left. But listen, what they do is I think the closing arguments will be big. I always think closing arguments big. If you remember my last podcast, I lost a case with an SA case involving a child because the defense attorney, when he was doing his closing, he looked at the jury, and honest to God, when he said this, I knew I lost the case. The minute he said it, and the trial was a week long, the minute he said it to the jury, I knew it. The defense attorney looked and he said, listen, and he pointed over to us, because the cops sit at the prosecution desk too. And he looked over at us and he said, listen, he said, there's smoke in this case, and this prosecution did a good job of showing you smoke. They showed smoke all over, but you know what they didn't show? They didn't show fire. And you can have smoke, but you cannot convict without fire. So I agree there's smoke in this case, but there's no fire. And if there's no fire, you can't convict. And you know what? I looked at that jury's eyes when he saw that, and I said, we're going to lose. And we did. 8-9 hours later, the jury came back with a not guilty. So I've lost trials that I thought 100% were guilty. And I've won trials that I thought were, and I won them. So you don't know what 12 people think. You just don't know. That's why there's plea bargains. Most cases are plea bargained. Not all cases. I would say, God, I don't know the statistic in my head, but I would say only 5% of the cases go to trial. Only 5%. There's 90% of the cases are plea bargain. Because you can't afford, when you go to trial, it's a gamble on both sides. It's a gamble on the prosecution side and it's a gamble on the defense side, okay? So it's a gamble because you don't know what 12 people are thinking. So it's a big, big, huge thing. Plus, we haven't heard anything. Listen, Blue Jean, you are right. We have not heard everything. There is going to be things that we're like, wow. And honestly, I have not been excited to watch a trial more than since the O.J. Simpson case is this one. You know, I did watch oh my God, I can't think of that girl that unalived her boyfriend in the shower. That was another case. But listen, I guess we're done. Aaron just gave us the get off the air. Thank you. We'll see you all next week. I love you all. Way to go, baby. Thank you.